Hello everybody and welcome along to the legendary Karting Genk, the home of champions. We're here to make it happen here in the Limburg region of Belgium because it is the penultimate day of the 2025 BNL Karting Series season. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, your commentator, here to take you through all the running action as it happens. And this circuit that's been around for over 4 decades really needs no introduction. So let's take a look at this fantastic facility here in the Limburg region. So for over 40 years, the home of champions has played host to some of the pantheon of modern day motorsport, and it still is a circuit that drivers enjoy as a true challenge, a combination of speed and technicality around its layout. And more to the point, well, the weather can play into the hands of some drivers, maybe not be for the best of luck of others, but here it always provides a spectacle, no matter come rain or shine here in this part of the country. The circuit itself, Karting Genk, the home of champions, and it's the season finale, runs in a clockwise direction and measures in total 1,360 metres. The total amount of corners, well, it is in double digits, it is 13 in total. And the longest part of the circuit is, of course, when it comes to straight line speed, out of turn 13 and into turn number 1. We've already had time qualifying completed this morning, and we are set and ready for the first of 14 races today. And at this point, we are at the qualifying service side of things, but we're going to have an onboard here, courtesy of our streaming partners, WFR Live TV. On board with Tom Lenoir from Dams Racing. Hard on the power, into a slight kink that leads you on a hard braking zone into a very tight first right-hander here at turn 1. Then you accelerate, use the curbing on the left-hand side as we go through turns 2, into 3, and then into turn 4. Then it's hard on the brakes for the 180-degree hairpin here at turn 5, and onto the famed Europalan, where drivers will exceed in senior road tax over 110 kilometers an hour. Hard back on the brakes, now into the chicane. Bumping over the curbs, and then carrying the speed through. Now through turn 8, and into turn 9. And then it's the short run up to Cafe Corner here at turn number 10. Great overtaking opportunity here at the circuit. Sweep the kart in. A little dab of brake, and then through into turn 11, now into turn 12, and you see the entrance to the pit lane just past us, then through turn number 13, back on the power again, out onto the start-finish straight, and across the line. And now we go trackside. There is the dummy grid as we are set and ready for our first race of the day. It's going to be senior road tax qualifying heat, B versus C. So the grid is being cleared. 3-minute board is being shown to the mechanics and giving their last few well wishes to their drivers. It's a wonderful circuit. It starts the BNL Karting Series and starts the beginning of the season, which we started back on the 8th of March this year. And now, here in the last weekend of September, we will crown our 2025 champions. And also, there are going to be tickets given away for the 2025 running of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, which will run between the 29th of November and the 6th of December, as it will be the 3rd time in 5 years that the best of the best in Rotax competition will head to the Bahrain International Karting Circuit amidst the sands of the Persian Gulf. The first adventure taken there was back in 2021, and then we returned there just after a quick trip over to Portugal and to the Cartódromo Internacional do Algarve in Portimao, and then we returned to Bahrain for 2023. Last year, the Circuito Internacional in Napoli in Sarno hosted it for the first time since 2019, and Bahrain will once again be a firm favourite for the drivers. So in total, 38 senior Rotax drivers will be here with us this weekend, and the final later on will comprise of the top 36 qualifiers. After the 3 qualifying heats, we have split them up into 3 groups, A, B and C. And then after the 3 qualifying heats, we'll then go into the final, after the qualifying heats, and also the pre-finals, where we'll see Minimax, Minimax Rookie, DD2, DD2 Masters, and Junior Rotax in action. We'll then have the finals. Then tomorrow we will, you know what they say, eat, sleep, repeat. That's what we're going to be doing again, exactly the same tomorrow, but tomorrow it will be Championship Sunday. And a warm welcome to our viewers on the official BNL Karting Series YouTube channel, and also on our Facebook page. Momen Ben Amour saying, hi, Alex from Tunisia. Good to hear from you, Momen. Hopefully we'll see you in a few weeks' time. But, of course, there's a lot of other competitions going on at the moment. Bombaral hosting the RMC Portuguese side of things. Voyens in Denmark hosting the final round of Rotax Max Challenge Denmark. But here we go. It's the first out of 28 total races this weekend. Let's take you through the starting grid of Senior Rotax qualifying Heat 1, Groups B versus C. It's going to be Tino Sidler and Teresa Babišková on the front row of the grid. Ollie Wise and Sebastian Koch will line up on row 2. But let's give you an update on the current top 3 in the standings heading into the final round of the season. So at the moment, it is Tom Longois, the man from Dams Racing, on 307 points. He's followed by this year's International Trophy winner from the United Kingdom, Macaulay Bishop, and the man representing the Stars and Stripes, Charlie Smith, rounds out your top 3. Now also, with regards to a little bit of history reference Senior Rotax, the only driver from the USA that has won a title in BNL Karting Series history was, put it this way, a decade ago, back in 2015, where a certain Oliver Askew came over from the USA and was battling against the likes of a certain individual that has just left Dale Coyne Racing in the NTT IndyCar Series. Rinus VK, you might commonly know him as, we know him here at the BNL Karting Series as Rinus Van Kalmthout, his actual official name. So Tino Sidler will lead the field away from pole position for this 7-minute plus an additional lap heat. Teresa Babišková will be alongside on the front row. Ollie Weiss and Sebastian Koch will be on row 2. Sasha Aim and Jot van Wyk row 3. Cameron Nelson, Roman Zrodinovs, Trofim Krotov, Lado Kohenidze, Lex Quintans, Tino Potier, Bastien Misnil, Christoph Holes from Switzerland, Ryan Bourguignon, Joe Gethin, Arnold Sabaha from Canada, Theo Eriksson, Alex Adams-Acton, Dante Sima, Louis Le Rigoleur, Pablo Estevez, Lloyd Hare, Sverre Ubben and Johannes Nyberg from Norway rounds out your field. These races are going to be fast and frantic for our senior Rotax drivers. 7 minutes plus an additional lap for all of the qualifying heats. The pre-finals for the rest of the competitors, of which we have 117 in total, including this class, will have 10 minutes plus an additional lap for their pre-final, 12 minutes plus an additional lap for Mini and Mini Rookie for the final, along with juniors, and 15 minutes for all other classes. But it is down to get ready to go racing for the penultimate day of the championship season here in 2025. Red lights on the starting gantry. As the field goes, revs up, lights on, lights are out. We are underway in racing here at our home champions. And today's Babišková trying to look towards the outside early doors. And there is an exchange for the lead. So Babišková gets through. She leads the field heading up to turn 5 for the opening tour. As they go hard on the brakes. And then Ollie Wise now into P3. That is behind pole sitter Tino Sidler. There's a couple of drivers at the back end of the order. Sverre Ubben in a customary unusual place as they go through into turn 8 through the Piff-Paff chicane at turn 6 and 7. But Babišková leads the way with the elder sister of Eliska, Petra and brother Denny Good to catch up with her yesterday afternoon with quite a multitude of drivers when I had an opportunity to walk the paddock. But Babičková, is she going to lead after the opening lap of this race? Well, at the moment, they come across the line. Babičková does. And Sidler goes from the move, up the inside, through into turn one. Ollie Wise tries to get through. Oh, big bump over the curbs by Babičková. But she hangs on to the car that went all four wheels in the air. Sebastian Koch, the man from Dams Racing, dual national that man, Belgian and German heritage, but runs proudly with the German flag on his race overalls. They make their way down through into the Europlan, but at the moment, Tino Sidler trying to chase down Teresa Babičková. Tino Sidler, the younger brother of Mario, gets done like a kipper. Whoa, great move there by Ollie Wise up the inside through at turn 9, and he gets through for second position. But Babičková, a known quantity within the world of senior road tax competition. You might remember the grand finals in 2021, something she would rather forget, but she is still very, very much a hard competitor as always. But it's Tino Sidler that leads the way. Teresa Babičková now defending from Sebastian Koch as they go through into turn number 1. Ollie Wise in 4th. 5th. Oh, it's the pride of Wales. Cameron Nelson has made his way up from 7th position and now will start to chase the leading pack down. And behind him, he's got Dutch teammate Jort van Wyk. So there's a bit of a meritocracy through the colours of Dan Holland Racing. As through goes on Sebastian Koch through at turn 6. Ollie Wise to retake 3rd position. Some great dueling and dicing this opening senior road tax heat. Looks like Jort van Wyk has already got himself prepped and ready to encapsulate that Dutch Lion spirit. He's got his Team Netherlands race suit on from last year. Alex Acton Adams has just been given a warning flag by race controllers. There is a scramble for 3rd position. So the top 2 have got a bit of a breakaway. Lead for Sidler at the moment is 4/10 of a second. Wise in 3rd. Koch, Nelson and Van Wyk as Nelson tries to get through on the German and he's going to possibly lose out of position. But there's a little bit of a moment there for Jort van Wyk as the back end steps out. Sachets from left to right. But still, as they make their way down the Europlan once again, they will break the timing beam for sector number 2. Coming out of turn number 9. A few dive bombs here or there at turn number 6 into the chicane. But still, there's going to be a lot of scrambling, a lot of battling for position. Oh, Jort van Wyk caught on the outside, through into turn 10, off of Cafe Corner. Accidentally used it, well, he has no other option but to use the runoff area. And that's going to put him right in the path of Sasha M, who is caught up as well. Battle behind, Trofim Krotov and I think Bastian Mesnil. They're battling away over position. That's P8 on the road, but Teresa Babičková has caught up to Tino Sidler. Sebastian Koch now gets a warning flag from race controllers. We have 3 minutes on the timer, plus an additional lap. Sverre Ubben, new fastest lap of the race, and is now up 6 spots from 24th on the grid, and is currently running P18 at the moment. But Babičková has got the bit between her teeth, and she is chasing down Tino Sidler. They go through turn 8. Now into turn number 9. And then it's going to be the short shoot down into turn 10 here at Cafe Corner. Jort van Wyk has been passed by Sasha Aim in the meantime. He's got Trofim Krotov not too far behind. Van Wyk managing to get through, and now it's changed again. Musical chairs from about 7th backwards, and there's a big old scramble. Big old peloton starting to emerge. As Babičková now within 0.2 of a second of the man in front. So, Teresa Babičková, she's always been a very, very competitive individual. Jort van Wyk losing positions, now loses one to Bastian Mesnil and drops to 9th. However, everyone's still running on the circuit, but it is going to be a case of how close will Teresa Babičková be. She sweeps to the outside of Tino Sidler into turn 10. This could be the opportunity that Babičková will need coming through out of turn number 13. She swings to the outside at turn 12 to carry the momentum through the corner. Now gets into the slipstream. Here we go with 1:25 on the clock, plus an additional lap still to go. 83 thousandths, and there she goes. Babičková for the race lead, and now Sidler responds through at turn 2. And now Ollie Wise comes back into the battle. Wise has definitely got an opportunity, and Babičkova again retakes the lead. This time at turn 5. Sidler able to use the switchback. And now it's going to be a 3-way scrap. It could be a 4-way scrap because Cameron Nelson is chasing them down like a man possessed. Great stuff from the man from Wales. And now it's going to be the Tino Sidler train. Nelson up the inside through at turn 10 on Ollie Wise. Great move by the 304 from DHR. And it's a DHR lockout at the top 3. Sidler leads with 2 laps remaining. Babičkova P2. And then there was a black and white warning flag for the 337 Theo Eriksson, as there goes the 305 of Sasha M, and also the 380 of Sebastian Koch through on Ollie Wise. But now we're counting down the seconds. It's all for themselves this weekend. There's no teammate strategy or playing nice. It's elbows out. Stanley knives on those elbows well and truly sharpened. As we hit 0 on the timer, there is a change for the race lead. Babičkova gets through. Nelson is waiting for his opportunity to strike as they head their way down in towards the final few corners. It's going to be one more lap to go. Babičkova still holds on to the race lead, but Nelson's looking to get the slipstream coming out of the final corner. Last lap underway. Babičkova defends going into turn number 1 for the final time. Holds on to that race lead. And still the 3 DHR teammates are lying astern. You cannot separate them at the moment. And it is going to be a possible side-by-side moment. Switch back from Nelson. Side-by-side. Nearly clashes wheels with Sidler. Babičkova holds on at the moment for the race lead. What a way to kickstart the penultimate day of the final race weekend of the season. Today's the Babičkova from the Czech Republic still holding on. But it's going to be a scramble. There's 7, 8 karts possibly going in for the victory in this opening race of the season. Babičkova holding on, defending within an inch of her life, and there's a send. Oh, that was Sasha Aim diving to the inside, but the checkered flag, it's going to go the way. Teresa Babičkova wins qualifying heats B versus C. And it was nearly a 3.5 of a second advantage at the line after the race had been completed. Cameron Nelson P2, Sasha Ain P3, but Teresa Babičkova back with a bang here in the opening heat. Great job by the 381. After 9 laps and 12.2 kilometres, she wins by nearly 3.5 of a second ahead of Cameron Nelson. Sasha Aim from France rounds out the top 3. Sebastian Koch, Tino Sidler, Ollie Wise, Trofim Krotov, Bastian Misnil, Roman Rodinovs, and from 22nd and 23rd on the grid, rounding out the top 11, Pablo Esteves and Sverre Ubben. Jort van Wijk, Lado Kuenice, Ryan Bourguignon, and Switzerland's Christopher Holst rounds out your top 15. Lloyd Hare, Lex Quintens, Theo Eriksson, Alex Adams-Acton, Tino Potier, Arnaud Sabarin, Dante Sima, Joe Gethin, Johannes Nyberg, and Louis Larigouler rounds out your 25 strong drivers as they now will make their way to the weighbridge and to scrutineering. All the results up here in the commentary position, called by myself, will be provisional pending any sporting and technical decisions. So looks like I have just been informed that there will be a delay. This might be stemming from earlier on, but looking back at the highlights, great battling early doors between Tino Sidler and Teresa Babičkova. It was a titanic battle between the Swiss and the Czech drivers respectively, but Babičkova diving to the inside at turn 1 early in the race. And then Ollie Wise started to close on in, the driver in the 356 from KL Sport. But this is where we saw Babičkova take the lead at race 1, that lap at corner 1, and then corner 2. And then at corner 5, it happened again. So Babičkova managing to hold on. And then Cameron Nelson in the 304, the man from Wales, did a really good job to catch and really bring himself into the fight. They do say that 2's company and 3's the crown, but this move here from Cameron Nelson, getting the perfect switchback, but nearly clashing sidewalls with Tino Sidler going onto the Europalan. But he made it through on the Swiss driver and kept with Teresa Babičková. But the checkered flag, Babičková showing that she still has got what it takes to win races, as we had someone off in the background. Not too sure if that was a Dams Racing or a DHR car, but, well, there we go. That is your first race in the books, and what a way to kickstart things. But at the moment, a little bit of a discussion going on down in the dummy grid at the moment, so we will be very shortly, hopefully, getting underway with our second qualifying heat. We'll be heading to Junior Rotax very, very shortly. We'll be back in just a few moments' time.
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
Well, thank you very much for bearing with us, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a slight delay ahead of the first of our races for Junior Rotax, but I wanted to let you know about a very special event that has been going on for quite a time here at the Home of Champions. It is the Rotax Max Challenge Golden Trophy. Now, this year, it takes place here at this iconic circuit, and it will take place between the 26th to the 28th of October 2025. We already have over 30 entries so far, so registrations are still open. You can head to rotax-ems.com/GFT. So that's rotax-ems.com/GFT. It also does have its official Instagram page as well. So thank you so much for bearing with us both on the live stream on Facebook and also on YouTube. We'll be back with you very, very shortly before we get underway with our first of our races for Junior Rotax this weekend here at the penultimate race day of the season for the 2025 BNL Karting Series year. with us during the delay. There was a big reassortment of the grid because in the amended results, I think it was 13 drivers that were given their lap times as the field of 35 Junior Rotax drivers head out onto the grid. Let's take you through the top 3 in the championship standings coming into this final round of the 2025 season. Currently leading the way is Vince van der Holle from Belgium with 307 points. Noah Barham from DHR on 269. And the 297 from SP Motorsport, Max Sidursky, rounds out your official top 3. So let's take you through the revised starting grid for the qualifying heats. Max Sidursky starts on pole position. He'll have Jacob Ashcroft alongside him on the front row. Noah Barham and Lieke van Berkel row 2. Boris Verhaag and Devon Yater next up ahead of Jente Moonen and Lewin Seidel. Emily Sierkowska and Lucas Torder with Kees Aziza, Sam Kohler, Sebastian Chow Clark, Eason Seng from Chinese Taipei and the island of Taiwan. I'm sure that Roger Young, you are watching at the moment, my friend, probably with a beer in hand. Then we've got Lars Lambers, Justin Fonk, Korn Willems, Isaac Barker, Kian Bernard, Rory Armstrong, Patrick Thorsby Askvik, Bran van der Weken, Ryan Gandor, Louis Bishop, Sebastian Lersch, Daniel Hakkinen, Connor Large, Riley Morgan, Callum Sims, Maj Tusek, Lionel Munguia, Louis Radcliffe, Theo Giluto, Mate Kobahidze, and Vince van der Holle, the championship leader at the back end of the grid. So we'll be 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Air temperature, 14 degrees Celsius. Sunshine from partially blue skies up above. There is some cloud cover here at the circuit, but with the warmer temperatures, it will help the track to evolve with the Mojo tyres being the tyres of choice. They will help the track to rubber up and grip as the race weekend progresses along. So now it is the front row. Max Sidursky and the man, the guy, the one that's been the biggest tour de force in Junior Rotax this year, Jacob Ashcroft, the defending champion. Out of the final corner they will go, and the revs are up. The lights are not going out. They are going round for another formation lap. So we reset and go at it once again. We'll have another couple of races. We'll have we'll have 3 more races after this one. Minimax and Minimax Rookie, their qualifying heats. Then DD2 and DD2 Masters, followed by the penultimate qualifying heat. That will be Groups A versus C for Senior Rotax, and then we will go to the lunch break. So the drivers making sure that everything is well orchestrated, especially with regards to getting that additional couple of degrees of tyre temperature into the front axle. Of course, no tyre warmers ever allowed in the world of karting. But now, once they get past the point of no return, which is the red line just by the pit lane entry coming out of turn number 11, the drivers now starting to get into the 2x2 rolling start formation. So Sidursky and Ashcroft on the front row. Barham and Van Berkel, Verhaag, Yater, Moonen, Seidel, Sierkowska, Storder, Aziza. That's pretty much the majority of your top 10. But now it is going to be down to Sidursky and Ashcroft to control the pace as they will now come out of the final corner. The revs will go up. We are green and we are underway here for heat. Oh, there's a big moment at the back end of the field. A couple of karts spinning around in synchronicity, one of which is the 2-2-3. So a couple of drivers compromised in all of that, and they're going to, well, it might have been the fact that a couple of drivers will get Well, one driver's running very, very slowly. And, there's the 257 that's had a drama. There's been a multi-cart incident at turn 6, one of which involves 242. And, that just goes to show Lars Lamber's involved in that. So a few drivers compromised, and marshals are clearing carts. However, at the front end of the field, it is Max Siderski leading the way, and he's got the 213 of Noah Barham closing in on him. Jacob Ashcroft. What has happened to Jacob Ashcroft? Oh dear, he's all the way down in 25th position, ahead of Maj Tusek. So this already has given this race has sort of been turned upside down and on its head. Multiple incidents and multiple carts stricken by the side of the road. Eason Seng, Lars Lambers, Patrick Thorsby Asvik, Mate Kobahidze, Askvik and Kobahidze are running. Someone I think has just jumped into pit lane. So the casualties have been thick and fast in this opening junior race of the weekend. But it is, black and white warning flag going to kart 209, which is Lionel Munguia. Meantime, Max Siderski holding on to the race lead at the minute. 217 has also picked up a warning flag. That's Kais Aziza, as now the lead changes. Noah Barham through on Max Siderski for the race lead. We've got just over 4.5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. So the 213 from the United Kingdom with Dan Holland Racing takes the lead away from SP Motorsports' young Dutch hotshot Max Siderski. Boris Verhaag now trying to close them down in the number 2, 3, 4. Lieke van Berkel at the minute, holding on to fourth has got Emilio Kauska, but close company. And then also, when you consider the fact that Kian Bernard and Ryan Gandor, Ryan originally from Canada, residing I think these days in the United Kingdom, Bran van der Beken now up from 22nd, now runs 13th, and has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 56.599. And there's a scramble and a half, one of which has got Gandor, Van der Beken, new fastest lap. And there's the 214 on the outside. We've got another kart, I think, coming into the pits. Might be Rory Armstrong, the youngster from County Down in Northern Ireland. And looks like that is the case, that the 268 from Ireland has pulled the kart into pit lane. Meantime, it's become a 3-kart brawl at the sharp end of the field. Figuratively, not literally, because we have got Barham still leading. So that's another lap in the books. So Barham stays ahead of Siderski by about 0.2 of a second. We're on to lap 5 now. And Lieke van Berkel is not that far away from this battle, half a second off. And she's pulled away from Kian Bernard in the 292, who's up from 19th now, currently runs P5 on the road. Emir Sirkowska from Germany gets a warning flag from race control as well. So black and white warning flag for the German in the 214. But Noah Barham holding on to the lead of the race ahead of Siderski and Verhaag as they come through turn number 11 on the run through to the final corner. And I think Boris Verhaag, has got through on Max Siderski and takes second place away from the Dutchman. The recovery drive continues from a certain Jacob Ashcroft, as Daniel Hakkinen has dropped down to 28th position. So far, we've lost Rory Armstrong, Easton Seng, Lars Lambers, Patrick Askvik, Mate Kobahidze, and Vince van der Halle. Those are your 6 drivers So we're down to 29 at the moment. Lewin Seidel rounding out the field as we speak. With a minute and 33 on the clock plus an additional lap. Max Sadurski trying to force the window open going through into turn 9 on Boris Verhaag for that second place. Theo Gilito up 19 spots from 33rd to 14th. Callum Sims up 13 places from 29th, runs P16. Lionel Munguia up 11 spots now, P30. Jacob Ashcroft now up to P20. Jacob Ashcroft now up into 16th position, having just got past Callum Sims and now has the fastest race lap in the pocket. And there's a change for the lead. Boris Verhaag and Max Sadurski now through on Noah Barham as they go through into turn 6 and 7 at the hairpin. So Sadurski looking for that window of opportunity to sneak up the inside or maybe throw the old Slim Shady M&M round the outside. And through into turn number 11 they go. Sadurski's got a really good run of momentum coming out of that corner on the Kart Republic chassis. Barham is there. Van Berkel now there. So, four-way scrap for the race lead at least, as we've got 2 laps to go, including this one. Dive to the inside, Bran van der Weyken, and that is through on the 292 of Kian Bernard. Luan Seidel from Switzerland down in 27th gets a warning flag courtesy of race control as another new fastest lap of the race. Jacob Ashcroft 55.651 as Sadurski dives to the inside for the lead at turn 6 and 7 off of the Europelan and gets through on Boris Verhaag, who once again has got Noah Barham right on his back bumper. Berkel is there, Van Berkel is there, Gandor is there. Van Berkel looked to possibly stick a nose up the inside at turn 10, but Noah Barham went no. And but more to the point, we've got one more lap to go, and it's Max Sadurski leading the way, side by side a little bit further back. And I think that would have been Devon Yater versus Bran van der Weyken, and Van der Weyken's gotten through. Van der Weyken was on the inside line, got the slipstream, as the leaders now make their way towards the Europelan for the final time. Sadurski, at the moment, might think he's got this in the pocket, but maybe not quite. Jacob Ashcroft now back up into 14th position, just behind Theo Gilito, who's lost the position, who's been playing musical chairs with Sebastian Chow-Clark. But Sadurski at the moment has a kart length and a half lead at this moment in time. Through into the final couple of corners come the junior Rotax field. Sadurski with a quick glance over the right shoulder, powers out of turn number 12 through 13, and he is going to pick up the victory. The man from SB Motorsport. Oh, bit of a run to the line there for P3. Ryan Gandor edges out Lieke van Berkel for third by 63 thousandths of a second. But Max Sadurski takes the victory here in the qualifying heat for juniors. Good to see Louisa Becker in chat. Daughter of Michael, who will be running in Masters a little bit later on. Good to hear from you, Louisa. But after 9 laps and 12.24 kilometres, Max Sadurski takes the victory. And it's by 2.5 tenths of a second. Ryan Gandor in P3 behind Noah Barham, Lieke van Berkel, Boris Verhaag, Bran van der Weyken, Devon Yater, Kian Bernard, Sebastian Lersch and Louis Radcliffe ran out your top 10. Radcliffe made up 22 places from 32nd on the grid to round out that 10th spot. Ahead of Jente Moonen with Theo Gilito, who also made up over 20 places, finishing 12th. Ahead of Jacob Ashcroft, Sebastian Chow-Clark, Kais Aziza, Callum Sims, Emily Sierikowska, Isaac Barker, Conor Lage and Lucas Lauder round out your top 20. 21st, Riley Morgan, then Lionel Munguia, Maj Tusek, Justin Fonk, Sam Kohler, then Luan Seidel, Daniel Hakkinen, Koen Willems, Louis Bishop being the last of the classified finishers with Rory Armstrong, Easton Seng, Lars Lambers, Patrick Thorsby, Askvik, Mate Kobehitsi and Vince van der Halle. The first couple of laps were chaotic, to say the very, very least. And there you saw in the background Rory Armstrong caught up, Lars Lambers, and there's Vince van der Halle waiting. Meantime, Noah Barham took advantage and would be pulling along the likes of Max Swiderski and Boris Van Haag. Some drivers would definitely seize their opportunity, one of which was Lieke van Berkel. A couple of drivers having to be very careful of how they position their karts out on the track. And there is the 214 Emil Siakowska that would end up being pipped, but well, it would end up finding Ryan Gandor, the Canadian for KL Sport, going through. And then this was the opportunity that presented itself, really. Noah Barham opening the door inadvertently and allowing Boris Van Haag and Max Swiderski eventually to go through. There was a nice move by Bran van der Weyken on Kian Bernard in the 292. And this is the move from Swiderski through on Boris Van Haag. And Swiderski would keep battling away, keep a hold of that lead and would not relinquish it until the checkered flag, as the 297 from SP Motorsport would come across the line and win the qualifying heats here for Junior Rotax. Well, we do have a small clean-up operation in progress off of turn number 5 at the Europlan, but coming up next will be our penultimate qualifying heat of today's racing. And that is Minimax and Minimax Rookie. And there you see them on the dummy grid. Our youngest competitors. One ticket will go to one lucky Minimax driver come the end of this weekend, tomorrow afternoon. And there you see the 122 Sam Pollock Racing's Riley Morrow, who booked his place onto Team UK at the final round of the Rotax Max Euro Trophy, courtesy of the Italian Minimax Cup at the Euro Trophy finale back on the first weekend of September at the Sarno circuit in just outside of Naples and amidst the shadows of Mount Vesuvius, a previous home of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, both in 2019 and 2024, most recently in the past decade. There's Finn Albert Jorgensen, now sporting KR Sport colours and on a chassis this weekend. Another young driver from Denmark. And it's great to see the young competitors from all these different nations come here to amalgamate in this particular region of Belgium. Oh, now that's something you don't see everything on the back of somebody's race helmet, and that I would imagine. Well, that is that's brilliant. It says powered by Mum and Dad. That's something I've never seen on a race helmet before, but it just goes to show there's a lot of thought process that these drivers go into with regards to their helmet designs. That they say that you can see so many different drivers in the same liveries when it comes to karts, when it comes to their race suits, but the identity of the driver is the racing helmet, and that can evolve over time depending on a driver's journey within the world of motorsport. So, with the Minimax and Mini Rookie field heading out onto the 1.36 kilometre clockwise directional 13-turn circuit. Well, we've already done it with the opening two classes of the weekend, seniors and juniors. Let's take you through our best drivers so far this season in Minimax Rookie and in Minimax. So, Osterman leads the way by a slender 4 points ahead of Tom Reed, who's not here this weekend. But keep your eyes on the man in third, Riley Morrow, in the 122. Also, with regards to that Minimax Rookie, Cian Hay does lead the way, however, is not here this weekend. So a good score for Arlo Gamble could mean this youngster may have the opportunity to become a champion. Let's take you through the starting grid for Minimax and Minimax Rookie for their qualifying heats. It was 3 1,000s in qualifying between the front row. Osterman starts from pole position. Riley Morrow starts alongside. Finn Albert Jorgensen and Dejan Habits will be on row 2. Logan Rolfe and powered by mum and dad, Mick Klinkers rounds out row 3. Julian Dummer and Harry Radcliffe with Jensen Walker and Trent van Melk round out the next few rows. Head of Jack Klim, Matthias Verreken, Julian Janssen, Leon Herbos, Jazz Hands, Leo Livings, Jan Wozniak, Ben Falke, Milo de Kalsmaker, Dimitar Lazarov, Teddy Murphy, Arlo Gamble, Leonard Costa, Teo Ferrer, and then Milos Baginski, rounding out your 24 strong grid. So the red lights are ignited on the starting gantry here at the legendary home of champions, Karting Genk. Of course, this will host the famed Rotax Max Challenge Golden Trophy in just 4 weeks' time, 26th to the it's the last weekend of October this year. But the drivers now start to make their way through the final corner. Red lights on the gantry. We're under starters' orders as now we will go. Revs up. Lights are not out. It is a full start. We are going round again. And once more, the nerves, the anticipation for these drivers truly sets in. And it will be the 24th to the 26th of October 2025. So over 30 entrants so far for the Rotax Max Challenge Golden Trophy. And you can head to rotax-ems.com/GFT. And at the end of this weekend, before we close out our broadcast, we will announce who will be calling the action as it happens. So it's a Sam Pollitt Racing front row. Oman versus Morrow. 3 1,000s covered them at the end of time qualifying with a 5-minute rip roar around this circuit to put your best lap time down. It's Oman, Morrow, Jorgensen, Habits, Rolfe, Klinkers, Dummer, Radcliffe, Walker and Van Melk. That is your top 10. 24 drivers about to go into battle for their penultimate qualifying heats of the year. Into the tram lines we will now go as the revs will build. They will rise. The lights, they go to green. We're underway. And it is going to be the run down to turn number 1. Good start by our pole sitter, as Finn Albert Jorgensen is going to try and see what he can do. Oh, but the Sam Pollitt Racing boys, they've been thrown a curveball, because Finn Albert Jorgensen, I believe, has just hit the front end of the field. There's the 185, Julian Dummer, the youngster from Germany, on the Formula K. He's made several places up in this early stages as the field makes its way through into turn number 6. Now, Minimax for this year, Formula K will be the official Rotax Max Challenge Grand Final chassis partner. And it's sounding like a miniature hornet's nest as the field makes its way through turn 11, through into turn 12. Finn Albert Jorgensen, the 165 from Denmark, will lead us across the line after the opening lap. Austin Oman, Mick Klinkers, Harry Radcliffe and Riley Morrow round out your top 5. Then it's the 125 of Jensen Walker, who's up 3 places. Trent Van Mullet gets the black and white warning flag from race control, as still Austin Oman tried, well, he got the lead off of Finn Albert Jorgensen. Jorgensen back in the lead, but who's he got with him? Mick Klinkers. Mick Klinkers has got through to second position. The 105 from the Netherlands. Now through turn number 9. And look at that train at the front end of the field. There is going to be a little bit of swapsies in the middle. Harry Radcliffe loses out to teammate Riley Morrow. Radcliffe has a little bit of hang time in the air. Jorgensen leads. Klinkers right on his rear bumper, and it's going to be a free-for-all in a minute if Austin Oman gets his way. Riley Morrow, his teammate, now back into 4th position, is the 122. Harry Radcliffe now gets a warning flag for his troubles, as the field makes its way once again. Julian Dummer threw on Harry Radcliffe, and there was a 3-kart brawl for around about 6 backwards, I think. Well, they're nearly 3 wide coming through turn number 8. At the front end of that train. It's Harry Radcliffe, as there's more squabbling for position going through turn number 10. But meantime, Finn Albert Jorgensen continues to lead the way in this mini rookie qualifying heat. Fractionally ahead of Mick Klinkers. 0.127 was the gap between the pair. And there's a little bit of battling. Austin Oman versus Riley Morrow. And Riley Morrow is ahead at the minute in P3. Also other changes for position. Mathias Verstappen gets through and round the outside on Mick Klinkers. Finn Albert Jorgensen, the youngster from Denmark, will he keep it pinned to the outside? No, he's going to lose out. Riley Morrow gets through. Austin Oman gets through at turn 6 and 7. Finn Albert Jorgensen put himself between a rock and a hard place by deciding to go to the outside of Mick Klinkers at turn number 6 and 7. So Mick Klinkers being chased down by Riley Morrow. Julian Dummer is now making it a quintet at the front end of the field. And what is the gap between them? Just over 3/4 of a second. Move and change for position. I think one of which might have been Jacqueline versus Leo Livings. A little bit further back from the top 5. But at the moment, Mick Klinkers doing what he can. Finn Albert Jorgensen looking to the inside. That's on Austin Oman. The Dane can't quite get past and has to slot back in front of Julian Dummer. Once again at a frantic pace. We are racing here in the Minimax and Minimax Rookie division. The only Minimax rookie here, Arlo Gamble, currently sitting in 18th place, has made up 3 positions. Over the course of the just past 5 minutes, there's a dive up the inside through on Austin Oman. That means that Finn Albert Jorgensen moves up the pegging order, so to speak. And now into P3. He's got Oman and Dummer up the inside and through on the youngster. Jensen Walker at the minute has set the fastest lap of the race and currently sits in P6. He's moved up 3 positions since the beginning of this race, and now the top 2 trying to see if they can steal a little bit of a last-minute.com breakaway. The gap between them last time round was just under 1/4 of a second. There's still a lot of battling some very close battles here in Minimax and Minimax Rookie. Arlo Gamble in the rookie class rounds out the top 20 at the minute as we go across the line to complete another lap. We're on to lap 7. So this, and I would imagine maybe another 2 to go. We were quite close on the window. Logan Rolfe, new fastest lap of the race by the 114, currently in 7th position. 58.313. Leaders still battling away tooth and nail. You can just see how much it means to these young drivers, and they put on one heck of a show. There has been a change a little bit further back. Well, Finn Albert Jorgensen got past at that particular point, so he's going to have to sort of bottle up all that controlled ruthless aggression and give it a little, give it a little bit of a chance for the drivers to race you, rather than people getting too close to the sidewalls. Then all of a sudden, everything just goes a bit Pete Tong. But the timer has hit 0. Mick Clinkers will very soon be taking us across the so at the end of it all, there can only be one winner in each race. Gillian Dimmer has just got a warning flag from race control. But it is going to be the last lap this time. One more lap to go. Mick Clinkers leads the way. Just over 0.2 of a second ahead of Riley Morrow. And Austin Oman rounding out your top 3. Points will only be taken into consideration of the finals only. So the final lap very much underway here at the Home of Champions. We just wait with a little bit of breathing space, I would imagine, between these 3 drivers. But it is going to be a victory, and this time it is going to go the way of Mick Clinkers. Riley Morrow and Austin Oman round out the top 2, or the top 3. Jensen Walker 4th, Gillian Dimmer 5th, ahead of Logan Rolfe. Finn Albert Jorgensen completes the top 7, ahead of Leo Livings. Matthias Verdaken and Jack Klim rounding out your top 10. So, just goes to show that sometimes perseverance is what you need. Motivation is all that you need. It's the willingness to get the job done. So there are your provisional results on the screen. If you are watching from home, wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for joining us. So that concludes Mini and Mini Rookie, their qualifying heats. So now that the miniature hornet's nest has dropped off, well, decided to drop into pit lane, stop the engines, but very shortly we'll be getting underway with our first weekend, well, first race of the weekend, DD2 and DD2 Masters. But here's a little look back at the highlights from that race. So let's head to our trackside view, and now let's take you through the top 3 drivers in Max DD2 and Max DD2 Masters before we get this qualifying heat underway. In Max DD2, Sem Knopfjes in the way, but not here this weekend. Antoine Barbeau, can he do enough to leapfrog the former? And Frederick Zebis on 291 also looks like he's not here this weekend. So now it's time to have a look at the top 3 in Masters. 319 points for Christophe Capitan. Second, Michael Becker, 304. And then Jeremy Bresler rounding out the top 3 on 299 points. And that is rounding up your scores on the doors for the BNL. So 4 minutes and 54 seconds plus an additional lap still to go. And Sem Knopfjes, welcome to the chat. Layla Bell, good luck to Logan Rolfe. So good to see you lot on YouTube are getting involved on the live stream. Send your messages in if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, and cheer on your favourites all the way through the weekend. Brandon Klein-Nagelvort saying I can't believe my goat Sem Knopfjes isn't racing. Too good. Well, he won his ticket through the Chrono Karting Dutch Championship and got his ticket at De Lansar not that long ago. So here we go. Dive up the inside and it's a slip wide from the 468. Oh, and that was Wout Kirstens. He opened the door big time, allowed Antoine Barberou, who's already trialing out that chassis from Birolart, ready for the grand finals. And he took that like candy off a baby, and all of a sudden Laurence Herbose, the man from Bouvin Power, also got through as a direct correlation. Oh, right. Black and white warning flag for Antoine Barberou. And we've also had another one for 421. Mathis Ankans, that has also come under strife. So halfway through this race we are. And Len Noyes has got a 2.7 second advantage. Antoine Barberou. Oh, and a warning flag for Marco Trinprice as well. So at the moment, for info... Oh, right. Change for second. Change for second. Laurence Herbose through on Antoine Barberou. I first came across the 402 back at the 2021 International Trophy. Pretty much went on pole position, won everything, and then all of a sudden went a bit wrong in the final. Right, new fastest lap of the race from Latvia's Gustavs Uzakovs. The 489, residing in the locality of the Republic of Tyne and Weir. Shouts out Joe Bradley and John Hindor on that one. And for information about DD2 Masters, look at this dogfight for second position, because now they are starting to close on in. There's the infamous black helmet with black visor of David Maslakovitz. He's closing in, and oh, and a dive. Big time dive up the inside. Antoine Barberou catches air, and through goes Maslakovitz, and there goes Gustav Zuzakov, who didn't need a second invitation. Oh, Antoine Barberou, he's using... Oh, and a clash between him. Oh, clash between Barberou and Maslakovitz. The slightest of touches, if you get it wrong in a DD2, you could become a cropper. Christophe Capitan currently leads the way in Masters as Barberou fires it up the inside of the 454 from Poland. Uzakovs, and there's Guillaume. Oh, Uzakovs up the inside. That was like taking candy from a baby. And Guillaume goes through at turn 11. Oh, the DD2s are definitely putting on a hell of a rocket ship show here today at the home of champions. Maslakovitz doesn't know what's hit him. And not too far behind him is Mats Johan Overhoff. Former E20 senior Grand Finals champion. And had the privilege of watching that in person and commentating alongside the legendary Henry Baudet in Bahrain. That was nearly a year when two drivers from Germany could have wrapped up both E20 Senior and Masters crowns. The other driver, the man from Kart Handel, aka the man who organises Rotax Max Challenge Germany, Servus Andreas Martis. Andreas was second that year in E20 Masters. But look at the gap that Len Noyes has over Bouvin Power's Laurence Herbose. And Wout Kirstens for the Combi Kart Racing team is right on his coattails. So, as I was saying, Christophe Capitan currently leads in Masters. Michael Becker, Louisa, you'll be pleased to know your dad is currently running P2 in the class. But he's down in 15th at the moment. He's gained 4 places. Wim Rouleau, who's going to be representing the Dutch Lions again this year. Currently P18, third overall in Masters. And Dmitry Ostrovsky all the way down in 20th position. But Len Noyes has got the wind beneath his side pods at the moment. Oh, sorry, Sam. My apologies. You did get it from the Euros. There's so many tickets going around. It's like wildfire at the moment. So well done, Sam. Congratulations on that front. Hope your dad, Maurice, is keeping well. Final lap is underway. New fastest lap by Antoine Barberou. And that's a 53.656. There's so many people that have got tickets from here, there, everywhere. it's difficult to find out who's got it from which part of the world. But Len Noyes has been on fire at the moment as the 417 returns to pastures remembered, and also that he's been racing with this year. Len Noyes out of the final corner will win the qualifying heats here today. So Len Noyes takes the win in that one by 3.25 seconds. Ahead of Lawrence Herboz. Wout Kirstens finishes in P3 ahead of Antoine Barberou. Gustav Zusakovs rounds out 5th ahead of David Maslakovitz, who started 2nd, finished in P6. Nicolas Guillaume, Mats Johan Overhoff round at the top 8. Christophe Capita takes the win in Masters in 9th ahead of Matti Sankans. From Norway, Ralf van der Pavert and Louis Koch rounding out the top 12. Louis started stone dead last and made up 8 places in the meantime. Kian de Brandt, Vincent van Kerkhoffen, Axel Hoes, and then also Michael Becker rounding out the top 16, finishing P2 in Masters. Marco Drittenpreis, Wim Rouleau, Dimitri Ostrovsky and Jakub Malamis completes the finishing order in that race as we look through some of the highlights of this DD2 and DD2 Masters qualifying heats. David Maslakovitz bumps over the curbs through turn 3, gets through and on Antoine Barberou, and then all of a sudden there's Usakovs in the fray, and then there's the contact between the pair. However, next up we go to our second qualifying heats for senior Rotax. So here it is, the grid for Senior Rotax qualifying heat A versus C. And it's Tom Longnoir, the current championship leader, that will start from pole position. Qualifying heat 1 winner, Teresa Babichkova alongside in the front row. But let's give you a quick reminder of our top 3 in Senior Rotax coming into the penultimate day of the season. So Tom Longnoir, second in the National Series, the Karting this year, looking to go one better here in the BNL. He's got Macaulay Bishop, this year's International Trophy winner, behind him, and Charlie Smith, 30 points covering the top 3. So here is your complete grid from first to down to the bottom. It is going to be Tom Longnoir that leads the way from pole position. Teresa Babichkova from P2. Matej Radenkovic, Sebastian Koch, Charlie Smith, Jort van Wyk and brother Taze. Roman Rodinovs, Lewis Goff in what is going to be his final weekend in karting before he moves on to Ginettas. Lado Kohenice, Olivier Jonkers, Tino Potier, Thomas Verheyen, Christopher Holst, Enzo Zani, Joe Gethin, Molly Griffiths, Theo Eriksson, Louis Weaver, Dante Sima, Rein Vandermeer, Pablo Estevez, Boaz Maximov, Sverre Ubben and Macaulay Bishop rounds out the rear of the field. So the seniors started things off with a bang earlier on today with their first heat. Will we see the same kind of fireworks here in the second heat? We've got another one after the pre-finals for all other classes. But Teresa Babichkova has taken 1 win so far this weekend. And once again, she starts from the front row of the grid. Can she go for 2 for 2? Or will Longnoir take his first win of the weekend? So the drivers will come out of the final corner. The revs rise. We are under green flag conditions, so the race gets going right now. And Tom Longnoir goes straight away over to the left to cover off Teresa Babichkova, Radenkovic, Koch, Smith, They're all trying to get through. It's a scramble over the runoff area. And Charlie Smith has sprung his way up from P5 to P2 at the start. Great work by the man from the USA. Beitske Visser in P3. Oh, we've got a spinner. That's the 3-4-3. Joe Gethin from the UK. And that was backwards. Coming out of turn number 5 on the Europolan. So Joe Gethin, one of the multitude of GMS motorsport karts that have come to this side of Belgium. So after the opening lap, it's Langlois. But look at Charlie Smith. He's really hustling the Frenchman along. And Smith is going to get the inside line and take the race lead. Great work by the Strawberry Racing driver, the 312. And Mateo Radenkovic rounds out the top 3 with the Dams Racing. 2-3 at the moment, but Charlie Smith is going to back the pack up ever so slightly. They go down the Europolan, and Smith is holding on. Radenkovic trying to go up the inside of Langlois, who might lose a couple of positions because Radenkovic and Beitske Visser were waiting in the wings, and it has happened. Thijs van Wijk now is the next person that might have an opportunity to get through on the 355 from France. Meantime, Beitske Visser defends against Langlois into the final corner. Across the line they go. Black and white warning flag for the 332. Looks like Molly Griffiths was unable to take the start, but there's going to be a dive up the inside of the 369, Thijs van Wijk. There's Lewis Goff. Oh, he's got through on Sebastian Koch, so the 351, as there's going to be a dive for the race lead. Radenkovic through on Smith. There's Langlois. And Smith is saying to Radenkovic, saying, come on, man, stop hanging about and get on with it. He just wants to get away from everyone behind him. And now Langlois right on the rear bumper of the 312, going through turn number 9. It's a fight and a half. Beitske Visser battling Lewis Goff for P4. But it is going to be the continuation here. Radenkovic will lead the way. Smith in P2. Langlois with a late dive, and he's sideways across the grass. Oh, what a save from Tom Langlois. That was fantastic to watch. He looked to the inside. Radenkovic has got a warning flag for race control. I would imagine maybe for driving standards. Dante Sema has also got the same thing. Macaulay Bishop. Never count out the man from Hertfordshire. Lewis Goff defending against Sebastian Koch from Germany. And that is for P5 on the road. Lewis Goff up 4 places from 9th on the start. Charlie Smith has had the race lead in his pocket at one time or another. He's now up 3 positions from 5th on the grid. Mateo Radenkovic started behind teammate Tom Langlois, the current championship leader, and now leads the race. But oh, a touch from behind. Langlois into the back bumper of Charlie Smith, and today's Beitske Visser bangs sidewalls with the American. Coming out of the final corner. Oh, Tom Langlois, I'm not too sure if he accidentally mismeasured his braking point going through into that penultimate corner. But Charlie Smith got a hit from behind. And Lewis Goff still battling away with Sebastian Koch, and there is Thijs van Wijk. Van Wijk has gotten through on the man from the United Kingdom for Sam Pollitt Racing. Charlie Smith has just been given a warning flag as well. I think he was trying to cover off Langlois, and Langlois just hit the back of him. So it's a bit difficult with just seeing one camera angle, but never say to Charlie Smith that he's not going to get there. He will not give up, and he's just been doing the good old tap to the side of it, side of his race helmet, and he gets through with a slingshot move on today's Beitske Visser. That's P3 for the 312 from Strawberry Racing. 2 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. And then, well, it's going to be a case of seeing what happens in the next couple of laps. And there is one heck of a peloton train behind Sebastian Koch. You've got Thijs van Wijk, Lewis Goff, Romans Rodionos, Thijs' brother Jort. Then you've got, I think Louis Weaver is not too far behind. They've got to keep their eyes behind them because Macaulay Bishop is about 2 seconds behind, give or take. So we've got about 3 laps to go. So we're on lap 7 out of 9. And a little bit of a touch from behind Langlois, unsettling the back of Matej Radenkovic. But Radenkovic was trying to cover him off. I think Langlois wants to get through as quickly as possible. Ollie Yonkers now gets a black and white warning flag from race control. New fastest lap once again, Macaulay Bishop. And here goes the change for the lead. Through up the inside at turn 6 and 7. And that is Tom Langlois through. And here goes Charlie Smith. Tries to get through on Matej Radenkovic at turn 8. And the American is between a rock and a hard place at the moment. So either attack Matej Radenkovic or defense against Teresa Babišková. But Smith is going to give it a go up the inside. He throws it with a big old right-hand haymaker through on the inside. And there is a mechanical black flag, I'm afraid, for the 332 of Rein Vandermeer. We've lost Joe Gethin, we've lost Enzo Zani, we've lost Lado Koenice, we've lost Molly Griffiths. And now it is an absolute free-for-all. Macaulay Bishop now up to P12. He's 0.8 of a second behind Boris Maximov as Teresa Babišková makes her way through on Matej Radenkovic. She's got an absolute barrage of karts behind him. But meantime, Tom Langlois still leads this race as we'll have one more tour to go. Langlois is going to make his way through the final couple of corners and bring us on to the last 1.36 kilometres of the morning's action here at the Home of Champions. So Langlois leads by 8.5 of a second. Head of Charlie Smith. Teresa Babišková rounds out your top 3. Matej Radenkovic battling away with Thijs van Wijk for the final spot in the top 4. Lewis Goff is catching. And he's possibly going to send it through. He switches to the outside of Thijs van Wijk, trying to get the switch back. Look at the scramble behind, being led by the 355. The 335 of Boris Maximov, who's currently in front of Sebastian Koch. Macaulay Bishop is also in all of that. But the championship leader, Tom Langlois, has an extensive lead over the American behind him, Charlie Smith. Teresa Babišková, that'll be a first and a third for her this weekend and put her in a good place for the top 36 final a little bit later on. But it's Langlois out of the final corner. The Frenchman wins the second qualifying heat. Charlie Smith P2, Teresa Babišková P3, Matej Radenkovic, Thijs van Wijk, Lewis Goff, Jort van Wijk, Boris Maximov from, Boris Maximov from 23rd on the grid to finish 8th. Sebastian Koch and Macaulay Bishop. I had no doubt in my mind that the 368 from Hoddesdon would make it into the top 10 by the end of that race. Louis Weaver in 11th, ahead of Sverre Ubben, who started 24th, finishes in 12th. Romans Rodionos, Thomas Verheyen, Pablo Estevez, Dante Sima, Christopher Holst, Ollie Yonkers, Theo Eriksson and Tino Potier round out the 20 finishers. We lost Rein Vandermeer on lap 7, Lado Koenice on lap 2, and on the opening lap, Enzo Zani, Joe Gethin and Molly Griffiths. But it's one for Babišková, it's one for Langlois in senior Rotax. Well, if we thought the first senior Rotax heat was going to be anything to go by, well, it is going to be the case that these drivers have definitely got their elbows out this weekend. It was a free-for-all, everyone trying to get through into position, but sometimes it never can work. Obviously, the 3-4-3, Joe Gethin having dramas, a little bit of sidewall clashing between Tom Langlois and Charlie Smith as the American took the lead. And then Matej Radenkovic decided, well, follow the leader. That's going to be me through at turn 5 on the Europalan. And then there was this moment here. Tom Lenoir, sideways, back end steps out to the right, catches the slide, points it in the right direction, and managed to make it through. And then there was this moment where Charlie Smith lost out. And there is Teresa Babišková. She would fire it up the inside of Matej Denkovic to get through on the Belgian. But it was a case of once Tom Lenoir hit the front, he would not look back. And then would come across the line to take the checkered after 9 laps. So 1 win for Teresa Babišková in the heats and 1 for the defending champion. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our qualifying heats morning action here at the BNL Karting Series at the iconic Home of Champions, Karting Genk. So you're going to have to stick with us all the way through today and tomorrow to find out who our 2025 BNL Karting Series champions will be. So we're going to head to the lunch break. So join us a little bit later on as we'll continue our journey towards the road to the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. We'll see you in a little bit.